Jennifer from Flux. In this video, I'm going to show you how to crochet the Autumn Moon Square. This is a beautiful seasonal square. You can really do it in any colors, but I wanted to choose some fall colors. This is an 8" by 8" square. There are in the pattern notes, if you want to increase the size of your square, there are certain rounds that you can repeat if you'd like to enlarge it. We are going to start off by working a circle, later turn it into a square. This square has lots of post stitches, so it creates some really beautiful texture. And then finally, we're going to kind of frame it in with some classic granny square rounds. And then at the end, just a really nice single crochet couple of rounds to frame it all in. This pattern can be found on the blog as a free version. You can also find an ad-free PDF in my Etsy shop. And if you join our Flux Gold Pattern Club on Patreon, you can have access to the ad-free PDF as well. So let's get started. We're going to talk about the supplies and then jump right into the tutorial. This finished square is roughly 8" by 8", and again, you can enlarge it if you like. Just check out the pattern notes and to see which rounds you can repeat for that. So let's get started. For this project, you'll need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle, a tape measure or ruler is super helpful. We're going to be making our square 8" by 8". We're going to be also using a 5.5mm eye crochet hook. This, as a side note, is my new Furls Odyssey in the sienna color, which I think is really cool because it matches my square. I'll put the link down below for this and a coupon code if you'd like to get one for yourself. And then for our yarn, we're going to be using some worsted weight yarn. You're just going to need some scraps of this, especially if you're doing it like I did. I did 1 round per color. So each color here, I really used very little of the yarn. And worsted weight is a pretty common weight yarn, so if you have some scraps laying around, would be perfect for this. Now, our square here that you see is made using Color Theory. This is from 2 of Wands and Lion Brand yarn. Now, as you can see, I have some scraps. These are like the ends of some balls of yarn. We use this for the ginkgo leaf scarf and the ginkgo leaf hat, and this is what I had left. So I thought it would be really pretty to make a fall square out of this color combination as well. So if you were trying to replicate what I did here with my colors, now again, you can use the worsted weight yarn if you like, or you can replicate the colors that I have. So what I have here is 4 balls of this, and this kind of stone color is called Moonbeam. This beautiful terracotta color is called Canyon. This kind of like a dark mustard color is called Dijon. And then this lighter mustard color is called Bee Pollen. So I use the combination of these to create this square. Now when we make the square together, we're going to make another one together. I'm going to try starting with a different color in the center. We're going to work from the center outward. I'm going to start with a different color so the colors will kind of play out a little bit differently so you can kind of see what it looks like when you use different colors, and different orders of colors will really change. Even the same colors but a different order will really change the overall look of the square. So let's get started. Okay, so I have my yarn and hook and we're ready to go. Now what I like to do, we are doing 1 round per color. So what I like to do is have all of my yarn. Now I know we're using scraps, so it's a little bit of a mess because the yarn balls are getting smaller, but I like to have all the ends in order, so in the order I use them in, and they're ready to go. See how I have each color kind of sticking out here, and I can just grab one, work on it, snip it, grab the next color and go, okay? So the order that I went in is going to be, so I did a little bit different order for this one, and I thought it would be fun as we make a second one to do the colors in a little bit different of an order so you can see them play out differently. So I thought that would be fun. So for the one you see here, I started with the Bee Pollen, and I went through, let me scoot these in a little closer so you can see better. But I started with Bee Pollen and I went this one, Dijon, Canyon, back to Moonbeam, and then Bee Pollen, and repeated those colors. For the one we're going to make together, I thought it would be fun to start with Moonbeam in the center and go Moonbeam, Bee Pollen, Dijon, Canyon, and then repeat them, okay? So I'm going to have my yarn handy, and we're also going to keep this square handy just so we can kind of refer back to it if we need to look at something. So let me grab the first color, And what we're going to do, I just need to grab a little bit. We're going to begin by making a ring, and we're going to work our stitches into the ring, okay? So grab our end here, and what I would like to do, let me grab one of these yarn balls just to put behind so you can see what I'm doing here. We'll add a little contrast. So I'm going to zoom way in, and we're just using our canyon right now as just a little contrast, like I mentioned. So to begin, what we're going to do is put a slip knot on our hook. We're going to create our ring, and then we'll work round 1 into that. So make yourself a little tail, not too long, just a couple inches. Wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop. Bring the yarn behind the loop, reach in with your hook, bring up a loop, and tighten. Then what we're going to do is work 4 chains. So to make a chain, wrap the yarn around the hook and bring it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to go into the farthest chain from the hook, that first chain that we did, and we're going to work a slip stitch into that farthest chain from the hook to create our ring. So insert it into that farthest chain from the hook, bring up a loop, now bring that loop through the loop already on your hook, and we have our ring. So you can kind of open that up, and we're also going to hold our tail along the edges we work to weave it in as we go. Now I often get this question when I make a ring with a starting chain. Some of you ask me if you can do this with a magic ring instead. You can absolutely do that, no problem at all whatsoever. So if you prefer the magic ring, feel free to do that instead. Okay, round 1. We're going to stick with the same color, the moonbeam, for this one. And we're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. As a side note, this chain 3 counts as a double crochet. Then what we're going to do is work 7 double crochets into the center of the ring. So again, I'm still holding this tail along the edges I work, and we're going to work 7 double crochets into the center of the ring. So to make a double crochet, wrap the yarn around the hook, insert it into the center of the ring, bring up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Wrap yarn around hook, bring through the first 2 loops. Wrap yarn around hook, bring through the last 2 loops. That was 1 double crochet, and we're going to make a total of 7. So that was 1. And then we have 2, and then 3, 4, 5, holding that tail along the edge still, 6, holding that tail, and 7. Okay, so because that chain 3 at the beginning counted as a double crochet and then we worked 7 double crochets, you should have, if you were to imagine this as a wheel, you should have 8 wheel spokes. Okay, so I'm just going to get a little bit more yarn. We can drop our tail that we've been holding. You can tighten it up a little bit, and then let's go back to this starting chain, that chain 3 we did at the beginning. We're going to count 3 chains up, 1, 2, 3. Insert your hook into that 3rd chain up, and we're going to work a slip stitch into that to close the round. So bring up a loop. Now bring that loop through the loop already on your hook. Okay? Now we have our little circle that we're going to be working round 2 into. You can see the circle here in the center. Okay? Now we're going to switch colors though. So what we need to do is grab our scissors and snip this yarn. All right, so we're going to cut the yarn, kind of scoot that yarn out of the way, and we're going to fasten it off. Wrap the yarn around the hook, bring it through the loop, okay? All right, I'm going to scoot this yarn out of the way just because we're going to move on to a color next. So for round 2, what we're going to do is grab our next color, and again, it's really helpful. Let me zoom out so you can see. If you have your colors lined up in the order, you just grab the next color. Even though it's a little messy because we have some end of the ball here, but it's still helpful to line it all up. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do is tie the new color into any of these stitches. Now, this is totally a personal preference. I don't like to tie it into where I fastened off. I like to kind of go across and tie it into a different stitch. It just kind of cuts down on the bulk because we're going to be weaving some of these ends in as we go along. And if we have too many ends, it just adds a little bulk to it. So I like to tie it into a different stitch. Again, total personal preference, but you know, I just wanted to mention that because it helps me. Okay, so we inserted our hook into any stitch, hook the new yarn on, and bring it through. And then you can just tie that new color right on. This is the bee pollen, if I didn't mention that before. And I also wanted to say, I think I said this earlier in the video, any color combination you choose would be lovely. I would just do 2 or more colors because it really will show off your stitches as you work. Okay, so we tied the new yarn on. Now reinsert your hook back in there, bring up a loop, and what you're going to do is chain 3. 1, 2, 3. This counts as a double crochet once again. And then what you're going to do is grab that tail, because we're going to hold that along the edge as we work. In that same stitch, work a double crochet. And then in each stitch, all the way around your circle, work 2 double crochets in each stitch. I'm going to keep holding this along the edge as I work, so it'll weave it in. So work 2 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, hop over to the next stitch, work 2 double crochet, one. Sometimes it's a lot to coordinate with holding a tail and working stitches, but just go nice and slow. Next stitch, 2 double crochet into that one. 1, 2. You get a little bit more yarn. We're just going to do this all the way around. Okay? Now at some point you can drop your tail if you feel like it's been woven in sufficiently and you've been holding it for a while, you can kind of let it drop. Okay? Now all these ends, anytime you switch colors frequently like we're doing, you'll have lots of ends. We're going to worry about all those at the end of our piece. All right, just working 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way around. Super easy. We're just getting a nice little moon shape for the center for our autumn moon square. Okay, now before you continue, this is really important to make sure you have the correct stitch count. You want to make sure you have 16 double crochets around. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. Okay, we're at the right count. So next we're going to join, once again, count 1, 2, 3 chains up, insert the hook into that 3rd chain up, bring up a loop, now bring that loop through the loop already on your hook. If you're getting a bit of curling, that's okay. It's going to kind of settle down in a minute. Okay, we're ready to move on to the next color and the next round. So go ahead and cut the yarn. And like I mentioned, we're going to have lots of tails here, but we'll take care of all those at the end. Wrap the yarn around the hook, bring it through to fasten off, okay? Now you can also give that center tail a tug if you need to tighten it up a bit. Okay, so round 2 is complete. For round 3, what we're going to do is grab our next color. Our next color in our lineup here might be different for you, but our next color here in our lineup is the Dijon. So we're going to work on round 3 with the Dijon. So I'm just going to find the end here. So what we want to do for round 3 is we're going to start working some post stitches. The post stitches are what gives this all this really fun texture. So it's going to create the first little bit of texture for our piece. So what we want to do for this one is we want to tie the new yarn in, but instead of into the stitch really straightforwardly like we did before, we're going to go into the back loops, okay? So you want to go into the back loops of any stitch, and again, I like to not tie it right where I left off on the other side. I like to kind of move it over a little bit. And we're going to hook the new yarn on. Again, I'm using the Dijon for this round, and tie it on there, okay? So I went in the back loops. I left that front loop kind of hanging out. Okay, you can see the front loop is still there, okay? So grab your yarn, and then for round 3, we're going to chain 4. Now in the written pattern, if you go over to the blog, the way I've written it is we're going to chain 4 as if to back post double crochet, okay? Now, if you've never done a post stitch, that's fine. I'm going to show you what to do. But we want it to look the same as the back post double crochets we're about to do. So what we want to do is, instead of going into the stitch with your hook to do your chain, we're going to come in from the back as if we're working a back post double crochet. We're going to come in that little space before. So when you have a stitch, The loop at the top is the stitch when you work it into, that's what they call the stitch. But the part of the stitch too, this elongated part, is called the post. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around that post. So take your hook, come in from the back, go over top of the post and back down. So we're going to go around those spaces that are on either side of the post. And then we're going to hook our yarn on, bring it back through, and chain 4. So you can see it's kind of hiding out under there. And that's what, see this texture? It almost looks like a bowl. That's what makes that roll forward like that. Okay, so chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we worked 4 chains and we started it as if to back post double crochet. So then what we're going to do is we're going to work a back post double crochet chain 1 all the way around. So the first 3 chains that we did just now count as a double crochet, and then the chain 1 counts as a chain 1. Okay, so that's why we did 4 this time. So let's hop over to this next stitch. Okay, we have our post. You can kind of isolate it to see it, like kind of hold it open. And we're going to work a back post double crochet. So wrap the yarn around the hook, come in from the back, go over top of that post and back down. Wrap the yarn around the hook, bring it back through the way you came. And we can get this tail is kind of in the way. We can get that out of the way. And then we're going to wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops. So that was our back post double crochet. And again, this tail keeps wanting to say hello. So let's just get that out of the way. And then we're going to chain 1. Okay? Let's do that a couple more times. Go into your next stitch, work a back post double crochet, chain 1. Work a back post double crochet, chain 1. We'll get this tail out of the way. Back post double crochet, chain 1. Hop over to your next stitch, work get that stitch out of the way. Sometimes they want to come forward there. Back post double crochet, chain 1. And we're just doing this all the way around. This is going to give us some really awesome texture for the focal point of our square, because our square has a big circular moon in the middle, and this will add texture, and the color we're kind of doing a fall color gradient, really, if you will. That will also draw your eye in, as the colors are sort of like a fall ombre. So still doing those back post double crochet chain 1s. All the way around, and you can see already that our post stitches are pushing that forward. It already looks really interesting. Okay, just get all the tails out of the way for now. So we just did a back post double crochet, chain 1. Next stitch, back post double crochet, chain 1. All right, we're going to work a chain 1. Next stitch, back post double crochet, chain 1. Next stitch, back post double crochet, chain 1. And we're getting to the end here. So back post double crochet, chain 1. Okay, we're back where we started. So you might have to, it sort of leans over, but that chain, remember that chain 4 we did at the beginning? Count 3 chains up, because that chain 1 we still need in between. So go 1, 2, 3, join with a slip stitch to close the round. So round 3 is complete. We're going to grab our scissors, give the yarn a cut, because we're going to switch colors again. Wrap the yarn around the hook, bring it through. Our next color is the canyon. So let's grab our canyon here, the end of that one. And we're on to round 4. So for round 4, we're also going to do what we did before. We're going to tie our yarn. You can kind of open this up a little bit. It almost looks like a lovely little basket. We're going to tie our color into the back loop Again, I like to go across from where I left off just to cut down on the bulk. We're going to tie this into the back loops like once again, hook the new yarn on. Go ahead and just tie that right on there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to switch it up a little bit. This is similar, but we're going to kind of do the reverse. Instead of a back post double crochet, we're going to do a front post double crochet. So what we need to do this time is we're going to work a chain 4 again, but we're going to work it as if we're working a front post double crochet. So I'm going to hold that tail and kind of get it out of the way. And this time, instead of coming from the back to the front, we're going to go in from the front, come up under that post like that, okay? So take your hook, come up under that post, hook the yarn, bring it through, and you're ready to do your chains, okay? So again, tying it on in the back loops and kind of doing the hook this way to start makes it look like the stitches we're about to do and helps it blend more. Otherwise, it would stick out and not look the same as the rest of the round, okay? So chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, the first 3 chains of this count as our front post double crochet, and the chain 1 counts as a chain 1. Okay, so next what we're going to do is go into that next stitch, and we're going to work a front post double crochet. If you're unfamiliar with this, all you have to do is wrap the yarn around the hook, come up under that post, wrap yarn around hook again, bring it back through the way you came, wrap yarn around hook, bring through the first 2 loops, wrap yarn around hook, bring through the last 2 loops. Then you're going to chain 1. Hop over to the next one and do the same thing. Yarn around hook, come up under that post, bring up a loop, yarn around hook, bring through the first 2 loops, yarn around hook, bring through the last 2 loops, and chain 1. Okay, we're just going to do this all the way around. So front post double crochet, chain 1. Next stitch, front post double crochet, chain 1. Next stitch, same thing, and chain 1. Next stitch, front post double crochet, chain 1. We can just kind of scoot all these tails. We're getting quite a collection of tails, but we'll take care of all those later. Next stitch, front post double crochet, chain 1. Next stitch, front post double crochet, chain 1. Next stitch, front post double crochet, chain 1. Next stitch, front post double crochet, chain 1, and so forth. Next stitch, and we're just doing this all the way around, and you can see already how much gorgeous texture is happening on this little tiny square. Well, it's a circle still. It'll be a square soon. All right, we're at the last one. Front post double crochet, chain 1. Next, now it might be leaning over a little bit. You might have to pick it up. Count 3 chains up. 1, 2, 3. Join with a slip stitch to close the round. And round 4 is complete. Okay, so we're going to switch colors once again. Cut the yarn, fasten off. Now our next color in our lineup is the moonbeam again. We're repeating colors now. So you can see we have our little moon there in the center, and it's giving a little bit of a different look of our other one. It looks really cool. All right, so what we need to do now for round 5 is now we're going to tie our color into any chain 1 space. So remember when we worked around, we did a chain 1 in between each of these posts? We're going to tie our new color. I might have to separate it a little bit. We're going to tie our new color into any chain 1 space. So right into one of those spaces, hook the new yarn on with your hook, bring it through, and just tie it right on there. Now what we're going to do is go back in with our hook, bring up a loop, and we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This counts once again, like previous rounds, as that double crochet, chain 1. And then what we're going to do is in that first front post double crochet here, we're going to work a front post double crochet into the one from the previous round. Same thing we did before. And then next we're going to chain 1. And then in that chain 1 space that you come to next, you'll see it in between those 2 posts, we're going to work a double crochet into that chain one space. Then we're going to work, see that front post from the previous row? We're going to work a front post double crochet into that one. And then we're going to just keep repeating. So chain one, work a double crochet into that next chain one space, work a front post double crochet into the front post double crochet from the previous round, chain one, double crochet into the next space, front post double crochet into the next stitch, chain one, double crochet in the next space, and we're just doing this all the way around. Front post double crochet into the next stitch, chain one, double crochet into the next space, front post double crochet into the next stitch, chain one, double crochet into the next space, front post double crochet into the next stitch, chain one, double crochet into the next space, front post double crochet into the next stitch, chain one. Let's get a little more yarn. Double crochet into the next space, front post double crochet into the next stitch, chain one, double crochet into the next space, front post double crochet into the next stitch, chain one, double crochet into the next space, front post double crochet into the next stitch, chain one, double crochet into the next space, front post double crochet into the next stitch, chain one, double crochet into the next space, front post double crochet into the next stitch. I'm just going to get a little more yarn here. Then we'll chain one, double crochet into the next space, front post double crochet into the next stitch, chain one, double crochet into the next space, front post double crochet into the next stitch, chain one, double crochet into the next space, front post double crochet. They were at the last one, to that last stitch there. Then we're going to chain one, and then we're back where we started. Remember that chain four we did at the beginning of the round? Count 3 chains up, join to close with a slip stitch. And round 5 is complete. So we can compare it to our other one. Starting to look really cool. All right, let's cut our yarn. And we're going to switch colors again. The next color in our lineup is the bee pollen. So we're going to grab that end, try to keep it as untangly as possible as we are working down through these scrap yarn balls here. Okay, so we're going to move on to round 6 now. Okay, so now we're going to tie our yarn into any back loop of any of these front post double crochets that we did in the previous round. So I'm just going to locate one randomly, tie it into the back loop, hook the new yarn on, and we're just going to tie it right on there, okay? Okay, now once again, like we did in a previous round, we're going to chain 4 as if to front post double crochet. So come up under that post, bring up a loop, and chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to work 2 double crochets in that chain 1 space. So that very first space that you see, we're going to work 2 double crochets in that chain 1 space. So 1 and 2, just like that. And then that, remember that double crochet we worked in the space? We're going to work a back post double crochet into that stitch. So in the next stitch that you come to, work a back post double crochet, just like that. And then what we're going to do is work a front post double crochet in the next stitch, which is the front post double crochet from the previous round. Okay, and we're just going to do this all the way around. So in that next space, work 2 double crochet, 1 and 2. I'm going to grab a little bit more yarn here. And then we're going to work a back post double crochet into the next stitch. Just like that. And then a front post double crochet into the next stitch. Work 2 double crochets in that space that you come to, that chain 1 space from the previous round. Then work a back post double crochet into the next stitch, a front post double crochet into the next stitch, 2 double crochets into the chain 1 space, 1 and 2, work a back post double crochet into the next stitch, work a front post double crochet into the next stitch, work 2 double crochets into that chain 1 space, then we're going to work a back post double crochet into the next stitch, front post double crochet into the next stitch, 2 double crochet into the chain 1 space, 1 and 2, back post double crochet into the next stitch, front post double crochet into the next stitch, 2 double crochet into the chain 1 space, 1 and 2, back post double crochet into the next stitch, front post double crochet into the next stitch, 2 double crochet into the chain 1 space. That was 1 and 2, back post double crochet into the next stitch, front post double crochet into the next stitch, 2 double crochet into the chain 1 space, 1 and 2, back post double crochet into the next stitch, front post double crochet into the next stitch, work 2 double crochet into the chain 1 space, that next space, back post double crochet, let me get that tail out of the way, back post double crochet into the next stitch, front post double crochet into the next stitch, 2 double crochet into the chain 1 space, 1 and 2, back post double crochet into the next stitch, front post double crochet into the next stitch, 2 double crochet into the chain 1 space, 1 and 2, back post double crochet into the next stitch, front post double crochet into the next stitch. We're getting there, and then 2 double crochet into the space, and a back post double crochet into the next stitch, front post double crochet into the next stitch, 2 double crochet into the next space, 1 and 2. We're getting to the bottom of these yarn balls. Back post double crochet into the next stitch, front post double crochet into the next stitch. All right, we're here at the end. 2 double crochet into the next space, back post double crochet into the next stitch, front post double crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to work 2 double crochet into that next space, 1 and 2, and then we have a back post double crochet to work. There's 1 more stitch. And then remember where we started, we worked that one as if to work a front post double crochet, so that would be the next stitch. So we're finished. Count 1, 2, 3 chains up, join with a slip stitch to close the round, and our round is complete. It's kind of looking like a flower right now. Okay, so we're going to cut the yarn, scoot this color out of the way, fasten it off. Okay, so for round 7, we're going to grab our next color, which is the Dijon. And what we want to do is locate one of your front post double crochets that you did from the last round. And in any of those, you want to tie on your new color into the back loops only. So go ahead and tie that on. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, once again, we're going to work a chain 4, working that first chain around the post as if you were going to front post double crochet. So we've done this a couple times before. So just come up under that post, bring up a loop, and then chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, next what you're going to do is work a double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So those were the 2 double crochets from the previous round. So work a double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2 into the next stitch. Then what you're going to do is you're going to skip over the back post double crochet from the previous round. You can see it right here. If you're not sure, you can see just up under it how it has that little horizontal bar. You can tell that's a back post double crochet. So we're going to skip over that, and then we're going to work a front post double crochet into that front post double crochet from the previous round, okay? And then lastly, we're going to chain 1, okay? And then we'll just repeat this sequence all the way around. So let's do this a couple more times together. Work a double crochet into the next stitch, work a double crochet into the next stitch, skip over the back post double crochet, work a front post double crochet into that front post double crochet from the previous round, and then chain 1. Okay, so let's do that. We're going to pick up speed. Double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, skip over the next stitch, work a front post double crochet in the stitch after that, and then chain 1. Double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, skip over that back post double crochet, and work a front post double crochet into the next stitch. Okay, let's repeat. Double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, skip over that back post double crochet and work a front post double crochet into the next stitch, and chain 1. Double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, skip the next stitch, work a front post double crochet into the stitch after that, and chain 1. Double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, skip the next stitch, work a front post double crochet into the stitch after that, and chain 1. Double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, skip the next stitch, work a front post double crochet into the stitch after that, and chain 1. Double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, skip that back post double crochet, work a front post double crochet into the next stitch, and chain 1. Double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, skip the next stitch, work a front post double crochet in the stitch after that, and chain 1. Double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, skip the next stitch after that, work a front post double crochet into the stitch after that, and chain 1. Double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, skip the next stitch, work a front post double crochet into the stitch after that, and chain 1. Double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, skip the next stitch, work a front post double crochet in the stitch after that, and chain 1. We're almost there, we're getting there. So then double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, skip the next stitch, work a front post double crochet into the stitch after that, and chain 1. Double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, skip the next stitch, and in the stitch after that, work a front post double crochet and chain 1. All right, we're on our last little repeat here. Double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, skip that back post double crochet, and then we're at the beginning where, remember we did that chain 4 that counted as a double crochet, so we're going to join into that, okay? So we're going to skip that back post, and we're going to count 1, 2, 3 chains up, join with a slip stitch to close the round, and make sure when you join that you're picking up 2 loops just so it doesn't get distorted, and close with a slip stitch, okay? So round 7 is complete, and we have some amazing texture that we're creating. So we're going to switch colors, cut the yarn, and we're going to fasten off. Now we're going to move on to round 8. Round 8, we're going to grab our canyon, or whatever color comes next in your sequence. I'm going to turn mine around just so we're not going to get some bulk when we go to weave in. And then, remember those chain 1 spaces we did in the previous round? You can kind of see them. They're right after those post stitches, so those really long columns that we've been creating, they're right after that. So tie your yarn into any of those chain 1 spaces. And just tie it right on with your new color. And then what we're going to do for round 8 is we're going to go right back into that chain 1 space, bring up a loop, and this time we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, this round is where our circle is going to become a square. So this is a really interesting round where we're going to be doing some transformations. So we're going to create our first corner. So whenever you have a square, let's go back to our original square. Whenever you have a square, you have side stitches and then you have corner stitches. So if you see this off-white round here, that's the round that we're on right now. And as you can see, we just, we're creating a circle, and now we're going to be adding some corners onto our circle to get it more square shaped. Okay, so where we tied this on and did our chain 3, what we're going to do is create our first corner. So in this same chain 1 space, and let me just come in a little bit here. What we're going to do is work 2 double crochets in that same space. So 1 and 2. And then what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1. And then also in that same space, we're going to work 3 more double crochets. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and 3 double crochet. So now we have this little corner that we're going to be establishing a square. Okay, so now we're going to work down the side. So we need to chain 1. In between each of the clusters that we're creating, we're going to do a chain 1, just as a side note. And then what we're going to do is we're going to work 3 double crochet, chain 1 in each of the next 3 chain 1 spaces. Now that sounds like a mouthful, but bear with me. We're going to take our hook and we're going to hop over to the next chain 1 space. Now if you remember, our chain 1 spaces occur just right after those front posts, these big long columns, so they're really easy to see. So that next chain 1 space, we're going to work 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, whoops, 3, and chain 1. That's a side stitch that we're working. We're coming down the side of our square now, okay? So then what we're going to do is hop over to the next chain one space. Remember, we can tell where it is because of that. It's right after that front post double crochet. And we're going to work 3 double crochet into that chain one space. 1, 2, and 3, chain 1. One more time in that next chain one space, work your last side cluster here. So 3 double crochet, 1, 2, and 3, chain 1. All right, go to the next chain one space. Again, look for that front post column that you see right after that, that space right after that. And we're going to work a corner again, okay? So you want to work 3 double crochet this time. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and then 3 more double crochet in the same space. So 1, 2, and 3. And then there's our other corner. So you can see it's getting more of a flat side, like a square. Then we're going to chain 1. Then we're going to do the same thing with the sides that we did before. So look for that chain 1 space right after that post stitch and work 3 double crochet in that space. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, hop over to the next chain 1 space and do the same thing. 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, hop over to that next chain 1 space and do the same thing. 3 double crochet, chain 1. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Okay? Now we're ready to do a corner again. So go to that next chain 1 space and we're going to work a corner. 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and in the same space 3 more double crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Okay, we have our third corner established. Now kind of spin your square around. We can call it a square now. So in that chain 1 space, work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Hop over to the next chain 1 space right after that post stitch and work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Hop over to that next chain 1 space right after that post stitch, work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Go to the next. Now we did our 3 side clusters. Now we're ready to do our last corner, okay? So in that chain 1 space right after that post stitch, we're going to work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and in the same space work 3 more double crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and then go to the next chain 1 space and we're going to finish up the last side here. So 3 double crochet in that chain 1 space. So that was 1, that was 2, and then 3, chain 1. Next chain 1 space. Work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Last chain 1 space. 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and now we're going to join to close with a slip stitch. Count that third chain up. 1, 2, 3. Insert your hook, join to close with a slip stitch like we've been doing before. Okay, now let's cut our yarn because we're going to switch colors again. We're going to fasten off. Now I wanted to point out, you may notice when you turned your circle into a square on this last round, you may have a little bit of curvature on the sides. That's totally normal. Anytime you go from a circle shape to a square, you might get some rounding. Whoops, let me zoom out a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about here. You may get a little bit of rounding on the sides. That's normal. As we add more rounds of square shaping, we're going to be, start to look more and more like a square. You may have just a little bit of a rounded look right now. Let's move on to round 9. Round 9, now let's grab our original square. Round 9 is the yellow that you see, the bee pollen. We're going to basically be doing the same thing that we just did for this round, but we're adding just some more side clusters because our square is growing, okay? So the next color in our sequence is the moonbeam. So grab your next color, whatever it may be, and we're going to go into any corner space. I'm going to go right here. We're going to insert our hook into that corner space, and we're going to bring our new yarn through and tie it right on. So any corner space is fine. And then we're just going to do the same thing. I'm going to kind of zip through this one a little quicker because we just did it basically. We're just adding an extra side cluster to each side of our square. Go back in with your hook, bring up a loop, and what you're going to do is chain 3. 1, 2, 3. In the same space, work 2 double crochet because that chain 3 counts as one of our double crochets. So 2 double crochet, chain 1, work 3 double crochet in the same space. 1, 2, and 3. I got a piece of fuzz there. Like we've been doing in between each of these clusters, you want to do a chain 1. Now we have a side space, or a side stitch. So what I wanted to show you is last time we did corner, side, 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 corner. Now you can see we have 4 holes. So when we work into this next round, we're going to go corner, side, 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 corner. Okay, so we're just adding one more. So go into that first chain 1 space, work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and chain 1. Next chain 1 space, same thing. 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and chain 1. Next chain 1 space, 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and chain 1. Next corner space, that chain 1 space, 3 double crochet. We can hold this tail along or just kind of scoot it out of the way for now. So 1 double crochet, 2, 3, and chain 1. Go into the next corner space that we come to, and we're going to work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. All right, same space, work 3 more double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and chain 1. Get a little bit more yarn here. Go to the next side, down the next side of our square, and in that first chain 1 space, work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3, chain 1. Next chain 1 space, 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Next chain 1 space, 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Next side space, the last opening, work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3, chain 1. Now we're at the next corner. We're going to work 3 double crochet into that corner space, that chain 1 space of our corner. So 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3. I did those faster than I said it. So 3 double crochet, chain 1, and in that same space, 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3, chain 1. All right, working that next side in that chain 1 space, work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3, chain one, next space, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and chain one, next space, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and chain one, and then that last chain one space of this side, work 3 double crochet once again, 1, 2, 3, chain one, and then in that last corner, because we're just almost at the end here, we're going to do the same thing in that chain one space, work 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain one, same space, 3 more double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain one, that corner's done. Now we're on our last side. So in the next chain one space, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain one, next chain one space, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain one, next chain one space, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain one, and then that last chain one space, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain one, and then we're going to join in that third chain up, 1, 2, 3, with a slip stitch to close the round. Just like that. Okay, so round 9 is complete. We're going to cut the yarn and we're going to fasten off. And now the square, the basic square is complete. We are going to add, if we look at our original square here, we're going to add 2 more rounds of single crochet, and that gives it a really nice edge and just kind of frames it all in. We have a lot of texture and lots of really fun stuff going on in the middle here, so that will kind of just kind of frame it in and bring it all together. Okay, so we have our next color, the bee pollen, and then what we're going to do for this round is we're going to go into the corner space once again and tie our new color right on. Same thing we've been doing. Just go into that corner space, tie on your next color, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go back into that corner space with our hook, bring up a loop, and then we're going to chain 1. And then in the same space, we're going to work a single crochet. Let me just back up in case you're not familiar with that stitch and zoom in. Back up and zoom in. We're going to go into that corner space, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops, and that's it, okay? Then we're going to chain 2, and then in the same space, we're going to work 2 more single crochets. So 1 single crochet and 2 single crochet, and that's our little corner, okay? Then we're going to continue down the side here, and we're going to work a single crochet in each stitch, but also each space. So let's do a couple together. So you might need to scoot things over a bit because that first stitch kind of gets a little smushed. So right there, we're going to work a single crochet in that first stitch that you come to, work a single crochet in the next stitch, and in the next stitch. So you'll have 3, because remember that's a group of 3 clusters here. Now we're going to work a single crochet into the space. So go right into that space and work a single crochet. Then we'll work 3 across here. 1, 2, and 3. With a little bit more yarn here. And then we'll work a single crochet into the space. And we're just going to do that all the way down to the corner. Okay, we've worked all the way across. We're at our first corner. I'm going to show you how to do the corners next. So remember our corners were 2 clusters like this. You want to work a single crochet in each stitch. I'm going to hold this tail along the edge as I work just to kind of tack it down. So go 1, they might be a little tricky to see, 2, 3. So you're going to come up the side like that. And then in the corner space, we're going to go right in the space here. And in that corner space, we're going to work 2 single crochet, 1, 2, then a chain 2, and then 2 more single crochet, all in that same corner space, okay? And then we can head down the next side, okay? So again, you might have to slide things over because that first one gets a little smushed. But just work a single crochet in each of these next 3 stitches of this cluster here. And then a single crochet in that space, and a single crochet in each one of these stitches, and so forth, all the way down. So you're just working a single crochet in each stitch and space all the way across, okay? All right, I'm going to continue doing that, and you're going to work your corners the same way. So I'm going to continue around, and when we rejoin, we're going to move on to our very last round. Let me zoom out so you can see a little bit better. We have some beautiful progress happening. We're going to finish up this round, and then we're going to start our last round of our square. Just coming up to the end of round 10, and working that last stitch. So now what we're going to do is join with a slip stitch. Remember those 2 chains that we did at the beginning, or the 1 chain, excuse me. We're going to join with a slip stitch to close the round, just like that. So now we are heading towards our last round of this beautiful square. We're going to cut our yarn because once again, we're going to switch colors. So our final color will be the Dijon. So that will frame it in. So you can see just how much just putting that little border on just really sets it off, okay? And I have to say, as a side note, doing the colors in different orders really changes the look of it as well. Okay, so what you'll want to do, remember that chain 2 that we did? You want to tie your new yarn into any chain 2 space. And let's grab our new color, the Dijon, like I mentioned. We're going to hook the yarn on, bring it through, and we're just going to tie it right on there. So we are going to do the exact same thing we did for the previous round. So I'm just going to kind of get you started, and then you'll just repeat the same thing. Do the corners the same way, the sides, except in this one, instead of working in stitches and spaces, we just have a nice neat row of stitches to work in. So that's the only difference. So we're just going to go into that same chain 2 space, bring up a loop, chain 1, and then go back into that same chain 2 space. It might be a little snug, but it's okay. The single crochets are pretty short. So we're going to work a single crochet, then a chain 2 to create that corner space again, and then 2 single crochet in that same corner space. Okay? And then what we're going to do, like I said, is to just work into each stitch this time as you work along the sides. Okay? So we're just going to work a single crochet in each stitch all the way around, and I'm going to work across here, and then when we get to that first corner, I'm going to just show you how to do that. We've already done that, but I'll show you one more time if you need to see it. So just work a single crochet in every stitch across, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and when we get to this first corner, we'll rejoin and work that corner together, and then just finish up our square, okay? So just keep going across, and you can see it just gives it a nice little edge. Okay, just coming up to that first corner, and again, we've done this before, but I just wanted to show you. Work those stitches, and then when you get to that chain 2 space, just do the same thing. 2 single crochet, chain 2, whoops, and then 2 single crochet, all in that same chain 2 space. That's all. And then just work down the next side and the corners, just do everything the same way we've been doing. And then when we rejoin, let's finish up this round, and we'll get some ends woven in and finish up our beautiful square. All right, coming up to the end of round 11, and we're just working that last stitch, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch to close the round once again. Just like that, and then we can cut our yarn and fasten off. So what we need to do now is just kind of straighten it out a little bit, and we have lots of ends. So let me show you the back of this thing. We have lots of ends. So let me just zoom out a little bit so you can see. What you're going to do with your ends is just, you have, if you wove in the ends as you went along, there are some you can just snip. So you can just give those a tug and a snip, such as this one. And then there will be some that you need to weave in yourself. So for example, this one, we're just going to thread our needle. And when you weave in your ends, especially with these projects that have many, many colors, what you'll want to do is two things. You'll want to stay in the same color. And also, you want to stay, this is the back of our square, so you'll want to keep your tails sort of in the back. You don't want them to come in the front because it definitely has a definite front. Now, things that are reversible, you'll do a little differently, but these where there's a definite front and back, you'll want to just keep everything towards the back if you can, okay? So I'm just looking for ends here that I wove in as I went along, because those are easy to kind of snip and get out of the way. And some of these ends, we need to grab our tapestry needle again. Okay, so go ahead and take care of all your ends that you see. And then when we rejoin, we will admire our beautiful squares. So we've woven in all the ends and it looks absolutely beautiful. Here's the other one, just to give you a little comparison. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and that is how you crochet the autumn moon square. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.